Hey, so this map that I'm about to play is called Bedlam, and it's a really fucking appropriate name if you actually play this map. I'm going to immediately take a dive into the toxic area so that I can warp up to a higher area and pick up the double-barreled shotgun, which there's nowhere else to get in the level. And given that I'm playing from a pistol start, I sure do fucking need it. This is a big open hub kind of map, and there are just constantly enemies being pumped in, and it's really hard to navigate because of the central toxic zone. And there are a lot of places where it's sort of a point of no return. Well, not a point of no return, but like you dive down and you can't get back up easily, so you have to go through all this other stuff involving all these other enemies to get back to where you wanted to go. And that can be really difficult. I'm purposely going over here so I can grab the chain gun right away. But yeah, I had to actually route this map like you would like a speed run or something like that, just so I can beat it on a pistol start. And I'm playing on Hurt Me Plenty. So yeah, this is a very hard map. But the hardness is part of the concept and the character of the map. It's called Bedlam, and it really feels sort of chaotic, and like there's all these things kind of swarming around you at all times that you can't really anticipate. And even, you know, as many times that I played the map, it's kind of hard for me to put into like to have a map in my head about like how exactly things connect with each other, because there's a lot of intentionally confusing things that are done. But yeah, so this was part of the Doom 2 The Way It Did project. And it's by Alfonzo, by the way, who's an Australian map designer. And I really like watching his streams sometimes. He has like a Twitch channel where he plays through Doom mods. But he's part of the group that started the Doom The Way It Did project back in like 2012 on the Doom World forums, which is kind of about exploring and recreating the styles of the original Doom map designers. And I think it's kind of a response to some of maybe the excess or just unfocused detail-orientedness of a lot of current maps. So here I had to turn to the right to get that rocket launcher. It's really easy to miss because it's not in an, you know, you would think to go up there. And dropping down here is also not intuitive, but it sends me back to this area that was right across from where I was earlier, so I could pick up this invulnerability sphere and then go back to where I was and get this secret that I had no real way of knowing about. So this is like one of those maps that like I feel like doesn't reveal itself very easily, and sometimes just straight up like wants to fuck you over. But I think like, oh yeah, and if you drop here, you can still get hurt by that toxic waste, so like it depends on you having that invulnerability sphere to get through there, because it's way hard to get through that. You're really likely to blow yourself up with those barrels and then have to deal with the archvile afterwards. It's not fun. And yeah, going through all of this, like it actually just gets you, you think that it would get you a key, but it actually just gets you a blue armor, which is pretty pointless. Although, like, right now, I'm actually going through it intentionally so that I can get that blue armor, so I can have, like, a little bit more of a buffer. But, yeah, it's some weird stuff. You actually will go back there again. Getting one of the required keys will just warp you back there. And there are a lot of, like, random warps in this level, and places that are connected that you wouldn't really think of as being connected. Which was really definitely a Sandy Peterson design trope, to have all these like really weird unexpected connections, to have random teleports to places where you have no idea where you are, just a lot of like very disorienting things. And these are kind of design techniques that this sends you to another area which I haven't been into yet, but you can't go back out that door, as you can see. So yeah, closing the door on you and forcing you to go through here, putting you really high up. I love the way that this map uses kind of like verticality. It puts you really high up it'll put me really high up when I pick up the yellow key. I actually do have to go to this area, but there are about 3 or 4 different ways to approach it. But it puts me really high up, and I have actually no idea where I'm jumping down into, so it can be really dangerous, which I really like. I just really like how it takes the kind of city setting of Doom 2 levels that are often really kind of blocky and just don't really coalesce into something interesting, and really make something new out of it. And I wish more of the maps on the Doom the way it did and Doom 2 the way it did that, just because I feel like there's often more of an insistence on sticking to what the original mapper would, or what the original id mapper would do. And I think what is interesting is the way that those kind of limitations help you explore something new, and I think Alfonzo kind of embraced that. But yeah, he talked a little bit about it in the Doom World Megawad Club, and I think like it. I won't read it, but he's basically saying like that this map had to undergo a lot of revisions, and you can tell there are a lot of really like little details that are going on in this map, and just the non-linearity and connections of places up to other places is really like kind of remarkable. Oh yeah, okay, so it puts me up high here, but I have no idea where I'm dropping down into. I just dropped down into here, and then this like kind of area with the Mancubus is a place that you can get stuck at pretty easily, and if you move forward there, you'll get the lift will go down, and you'll come out on the other side of where those imps were that I killed earlier in this area. Yeah, as you can see, after playing through it many times, I'm still struggling. Like, I have 15% health. But yeah, this is one map that I just appreciate more and more the more I look at it, even though there are some really dickish things. But the really dickish things are kind of part of the character of the map, part of, like, the whole Sandy Peterson, vibe. And there are things that I feel like people are really afraid to sort of recreate in their own maps at this point. And which is why I really appreciate the existence of stuff like Doom 2 the way it did, and that there's kind of a group of people who want to really highlight what makes Doom and what makes it interesting, and in a more like bare bone essential kind of way, rather than just focusing on scope, because there's just so much stuff going on here that you don't normally see explored in a lot of Doom levels. Yeah, and I don't know, like, Doom is a chaotic game, but oftentimes it feels like you're more or less in control of the situation, and you understand, like, if you know how to play the game well enough, and you understand, like, the particularities of the combat and stuff, and the typical scenarios that you get into, it'll put you in a pretty good place with completing stuff. But this map really doesn't do that. It kind of defamiliarizes you in a way that a lot of Sandy Peterson's maps do, and it's unfair in some ways. Like, there are some things that I obviously wouldn't do, but it, like I said, it fits with the character of the level, and it kind of uses that dickishness in an interesting way. So I think that's a good way of distinguishing or justifying why it's there. This lift thing is interesting. I remember getting really stuck on it when I first played this. And oh yeah, and going this teleporter, if you turn around, there's a door here, which you would have no real, unless you kind of stood up and realized where you are, you had no real sense that there would just be a door there that you could go into. That kind of spatial relationship doesn't make any sense. But it's really interesting. I think if I were designing it, I would design it in a way that at least was like somewhat apparent what you were doing and how to manipulate it. But that's one of the things about Doom, is that there are just some levels that you don't really have a foothold, and that's just a central part of the original games, and I like that it's being explored. But yeah, I don't know. I think that there's just like, I'm trying to think of what else to say. Oh yeah, there's this teleporter. It'll send you back again to this area. This area seems to be like a hub with the teleporters, like right in front of the yellow key. I find it interesting that like the area that you would think that that whole gamut with like those barons or Hell Knights and oh yeah, there's a secret up there that I forgot. I don't know how to get to. There's like that gray lift in the distance, silver, gray, whatever. But that whole like jumping between buildings with Hell Knights area, you really think that there's going to be a key there, and the fact that it isn't there, that it's kind of in the place that you feel like you get stuck in, is interesting. Yeah, there's another lift here. This is what confused me when I first played through. It's not apparent what is actually going down. The lift is on the other side here. Didn't take me too long to figure it out this time. When you go up here, it's really a lot more dickish on ultraviolence because there's 3 Hell Knights, and you can again drop down to a previous area right there, and also if you don't go to the key in the correct way, it'll just warp you and you won't be able to pick up that key and you'll have to go all the way back there. And yeah, now it sends me back to that whole gamut that I was just talking about, which I don't actually need to get through because all I need to do is find the red key door, which I'm going to skip for the time being so that I can get another secret or two. And there's this area all the way to the right that is completely optional. That's the secret that I missed. I only got 3 out of 5. I don't know what the 5th one is, but there's this whole area that's not that's just completely optional, that if you go over the ledge to here and then you jump over there, you can enter into this other area. But it's not actually like that advantageous to you to do. When I was first playing through the map, I thought like, oh my god, this might send me in the right place, but I like it, and it took me a while to figure out that really the best thing to do was the completely like most unintuitive thing, which is just to dive down straight in the lava so I could be warped up. Like, that doesn't make any sense. You would think that getting into the higher area usually, like, design-wise, makes the most sense because that's usually what advantages you. But I don't know, and that's the weird thing about it. Like, I don't know whether to say that I like that or not. But it's definitely a thing. Actually, what Alfonzo said in that in the thread was, he said, gameplay-wise, I'm pretty pleased with the level, in particular the way certain encounters are rendered either perfunctory or deadly depending on when they're tackled. I do acknowledge the complaints about the somewhat directionless progression to the map, which isn't really helped by the layout being buckled under the weights of its thematic obligations, but I'd be lying if I said it wasn't a quality I was aiming for in achieving that special brand of Sandy scrambling so intrinsic to his sandbox creations. I guess I always intended it to be loathed and praised in equal measure, or the very least considered interesting, and I should be grateful for such critique. So yeah, this is definitely designed to be a dickish map, and you can tell, and that's why I admire it, because there are a lot of things going on that are just so strange and so distinctive to this map. But yeah, I mean, like, obviously it's not like you can get through it once you kind of parse the situation and once you find the kind of correct paths through, but it's not really intuitive how to actually get to places, and like it's just kind of a given that you're going to struggle when you're first playing through it, which is like, again, I said really interesting. I don't know if I would design something that way, but I'm kind of glad that it exists. So this last area really fucking sucks. I mean, I like it, but it's just so mean. You have to go down these like lit platforms. I feel like this is a scenario that I've definitely seen in other Doom WADs. It's not like very uncommon. But then it spawns these revenants, which I'm just not going to fuck with. I'm just going to take the hit and BFG them. So the BFG in the end does have a use, thankfully. But yeah, if you fall down in a toxic waste, and in the complete darkness have to find where the teleporter is, which if you use the map, it's not a big deal, but still. This map is not like, there is no real like big treasure trove of secrets or whatever that you're gonna find that'll make this map easier. Like, no matter what, it's a difficult map. And I can't imagine playing it on pistol start on UV, because I had enough trouble on Hurt Me Plenty. And yeah, here at the end when the platform raises up, you can drop down and completely get stuck in another area of the map and have to come all the way back up and go through those platforms again. So it's really dickish. And I like how the ending is kind of in this lava oven. But yeah, like I said, this map stood out to me the most of any of the ones that I played in Doom 2 the way it did, aside from maybe the secret map, which I might play through. But I wanted to show something more recent, just to not to fetishize the past or whatever, to show, you know, what people are making now and that there is interesting stuff still happening. So I hope you enjoyed it. My Twitter is @ELLAGURO, and look for more Doom mixtape entries. So yeah. Have a good night, and I will see you guys later.